I'm telling you, I'm from the country. It's
Well,
not well liked.
yes,
It's
yes.
popular amongst not all, some PNP supporters. Because I know a lady that's a strong PNP that can't stand him. Just in
Carl,
persona,
Carl,
yeah.
Carl. Hardly Shah is loved by many and hated by many in the constituency.
Yes.
It comes down to that doesn't really matter. I know MP that 4,000 people yet in the constituency and he win by 5,000.
Yeah, but
I'm from Northeast Manchester and 1,000 people down here Valwit.
well, I don't know the numbers. But I could tell that you're from Manchester, because the way you talk about
that's not really the factor. It's a JLP stronghold, and the people of Northeast Manchester don't have enough reason to turn their back on the JLP and the JLP government, and Valwyn haven't shown them much. He was riding and he was getting a free ride, and he didn't show them enough to switch enough people or convince the undecided.
How many more seats we have left to go, Carl?
It was 12, so we touched Northeast Manchester, we touched Northwest Manchester, so we're down to 10 now.
10, Casey. Can you do the next 10 in 10 minutes?
Well, I'll try.
Yes. All right. Let's see what we can do.
Let me come up from the west. I think
Yes.
Western Westmoreland is back in the statistical dead heat again.
Western Westmoreland with James.
Garfield James versus Ian Hales.
Too close to call.
Let's see who will lose that one.
Huh.
One of them will lose it. I don't think any one of them will win it.
Yes.
Yes. I think Western Hanover is leaning PNP with Elder Miller.
Tari, I hope you're making notes.
Yes.
I'm taking my notes.
You see,
Yes,
Western.
I think, Carl, I have 10 minutes now. After I go through, you can finish. Just keep your thought. Don't forget them. Write them down. I think Western Hanover is leaning PNP with Edda Miller over Tamika Davis. I think Eastern Hanover with Dave Brown is leaning JLP for Dave Brown over Andrea Perkis. I think Central Westmoreland is leaning JLP with George Wright over Dwayne Vaz. I think Eastern Westmoreland, very interested, is leaning PNP for Dayton Campbell over Daniel Lawrence, but just that was one I thought that I would be forecasting as a PNP CFC by now. Daniel Lawrence is actually doing well. I think it's leaning PNP over to St. James West Central. I think it's leaning JLP for Marlene Malawi Ford over Dr. Andre Arton. And of all the seats that I have in the marginal that are leaning, I think West Central St. James is leaning the heaviest.
Yes.
I think it's the closest to a safe seat that I haven't called for a safe seat. Marlene Malawi Ford. Over in South St. James, I think it's a statistical dead heat. Based on my forecast, I think it's 50-50 with Nikisha Burchell and Homer Davis. Let's see which party end up with the strength in that parish to carry home South St. James.
Yes.
Over in Natchalani. Natchalani is another interesting one. I think Topher Hamilton is as good an MP maybe as Rhoda Mae Crawford. But I think that the JLP base in central Manchester would have been stronger than the JLP base in Northern Trelawney. So since the PNP is revitalized, Northern Trelawney would have been having it tougher to really take back the lead after JLP went in a slump in 2023 and early 2024. I think Tova Hamilton and the JLP have recovered, and I think they are in the ascendancy, but I think Nachalani is where we call, I'd say 51-49 to the JLP, to Tova, because of her performance. But I think that one is a battleground. Over in St. Elizabeth now, that seat would have been Zuleika just for the PNP versus the incumbent Delroy Slowly. I don't think Jess have done enough to overtake Slowly. I think it's leading JLP in Northeast St. Elizabeth. Which parish did we miss, Carl?
I think that's it. You touched St. Catherine already. You touched Anova.
Yes.
I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Tari,
yes.
Crank up the numbers there. By the way, Ruler Brown wanted to have a question in. Ruler?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Our neighbor, blessings to you and to the analysts giving their forecast.
You've got that.
Yeah, let me say this. I'm new to this. I am new to this. And hearing the analysis and the predictions, I'm a bit confused. I hear they give descriptions like leaning and so forth. My key question is this real surveys have been taken, or it's just based on projections that you guys feel is going to happen? And my next follow-up question to that is, with all the work that the JLP has been doing in the schools, in the roads, businesses, shouldn't we see a leaning or some factor, percent or two, going towards some of the JLP candidates? I'm a bit confused. You know, as you know, neighbor, I lived in the States for 47 years, so this is my first time. So hearing this is a question that comes to me. Where are they getting their numbers, to use the word leaning, and 51-49? Can you help me?
Carl?
Yeah, so it's an educated forecast, right? And if you have been following the politics, probably you'd have understood a little bit better. You know what I mean? So leaning is just is a term used when it's not convincing on either side, but it just slightly tilting to one side, especially some marginal seat. If you look at Eastern St. Thomas, right, where you have Dr. Michelle Charles up against Rosemary Shaw, even though that seat has been voting for the People's National Party from 1993 up until 2020, when it flipped towards the Labour Party. But there's a strong amount of support there for the People's National Party. But based on the amount of infrastructure work that has gone on in the constituency, you cannot really write off the People's National Party, right? And the fact that the Michelle Charles has performed so well, you just can't really say outrightly she's going to win. So we say lean. That means there's a strong chance that she might lose, right? But based on the work that has gone on in the constituency, we could say that, you know, she should win. That's 100% certain. You have again 50-50 seat where you give both candidates an equal chance to win. So, for example, Central Kingston has been voting for the Labour Party, for the People's National Party up until 2020 from 1989, right? And so you can even go back to 1980 as well. So, based on the dynamics in that seat, it's not leaning to either candidate per se. So that's a 50-50 chance. Other seats, if you have been listening, the Labour Party has won those seats in the last election convincingly, and the election before that, the 2016 election, some of those seats, right, was won convincingly, and in the 2020 election, they also won those seats convincingly. So that is pretty much it. So leaning is just a term we use when we can't really give one party an overwhelming chance of winning that particular seat.
And I understand that description. Mike, so the key thing is not actual polls that you go out and canvass people in respective areas and get real hard numbers.
No, not polls, but some seats though. Some seats you don't have to poll those seats to know that
Yes.
which party is going to win those seats. You have some seats that you don't even have to poll during election. In the 2016 election, right? Both pollsters, Dan Anderson and Bill Johnson, they went in and polled the entire 63 constituencies, which was not really good. You have a pollster from Trinidad and Tobago just come in and poll 18 seats, 18 toss-up seats, and he could predict from those 18 seats who is going to win the election. So,
in other words, Carl, the elections this time around is going to be won in the 29 seats.
Yes. So you have 26
29
seats.
marginals.
Yeah, no. KC give us 26 seats. I have the 28, and based on what he said, I totally agree. I don't see.
Yeah, let's stay with his numbers. But how many seats are we working on tonight? The ones that are leaning either side. How many?
I don't remember what
I think it's 29.
You have to ask. 29. No. Yeah, some seats are leaning, and some up to 29 seats. Some seats are leaning, and some seats are 50-50. Right. So you have to ask.
But that's where the election really is going to be determined.
Exactly. Right.
In other words, the safe Labour Party seats. I don't even know if the PNP is putting much effort into Central St. Catherine.
Exactly.
They will not be.
And Central Clarendon too.
Central Clarendon. I don't know that the PNP is going to go down to West Kingston and campaign. They are not going to win that. The PNP is not going to spend a lot of resources over in where Delroy Chuck is or where Carl Samuda is.
Right. I even Babsy Grange on those seats. To answer your question, sir, we don't have to poll each constituency to know the outcome. Those you have certain constituency on both sides that we know come election night is a given. If you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and where Angela Brownberg is, the Labour Party is not spending $1 over this.
No.
Right.
Mark Bowling too.
So Rula, it's like in the US, you know that the Republicans are never going to win New York or California. That now got basically.
Precisely. So true. Yeah. All right, fine. That's fair enough. And based on your past experience of predicting some of these polls, what percentage would you say your success rate? Let me put it that way. Your success rate. I know Casey seems like he's in this heavily. If I could ask Casey on the past, what kind of success rate he has had with this type of predictions?
All right, he's paused a little, but can I tell you this, Ruler, that elections in Jamaica are becoming more predictable these days, you know. More predictable.
All right. I appreciate the input.
As a matter of fact, this is why a lot of people are having problems with the polls. Especially the recent Don Anderson poll, which gives the PNP a 3-point lead. Mind you, the same poll gave the Prime Minister a 7-point lead in terms of popularity. But then it gives the PNP a 3-point lead.
Yes.
How do you go into an election with 49 seats and lose? How you do that?
After the volume of work that's being done by the JLP, I think it's going to happen. Based on, this is my first year, my number is 52-11 for the JLP. So who knows? All right. Well, neighbor, thank you for having me up, and the guys doing the great work. Thanks for explaining. All right.
Bless your heart. Take care.
One love. Bye-bye.
All right. You said we missed one seat.
Yes, neighbor, when I was doing the total tally, I realized we had 28 seats. And when I look back at the constituencies, I realized that we missed St. Catherine East Central, That's Orlando Terlong versus Raymond Price.
Yes, Tari. We didn't speak about that one. Yes, that one, yeah.
All right. Lean that one to the Labour Party.
Yeah, I'll give that one a 52-48 towards Orlando Terrell.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, Casey.
Hello.
Yes, Casey.
Yes. That's leaning JLP heavily. If it was a poll, it would have maybe been 52-48, but it's not a poll. It's already a marginal seat. The probability of Terry Lang winning that seat maybe 55, maybe 65%. The probability of Terry Lang taking it home over Price, maybe 65%. Price may have a 35% chance.
Yeah.
Tari, it's your time to review.
All right, neighbor, I can't stay with you much longer after.
Take care, Carl. Take care of yourself.
But
Bye-bye.
Casey, before I go, what is the total now? Are you going to wait until tomorrow to give it that? The total in terms of seat counts on either side? Thursday. All right, good. I have to jump off now. Take care, guys. All the best.
Take care.
I will talk again. All right, good. Casey, respect man, Casey. Thank you. Casey, now you hear me?
Yeah, respect. Carl.
Yeah, man, you do a good job. Thank you very much. Catch you tomorrow.
Big
Okay?
up. Yeah. And thanks to everybody. Thanks to everybody for listening.
By the way, Samwise, are you wanting to say something? Samwise? Samwise?
Alright, neighbor, are you hearing me?
Listeners, pay attention, no, please. If you don't want to come up in the box to say something, stop sending the request. And if you send a request, recognize that you're up in the box. All right, we just can't deal with the come on, man. Come on, let's do better than this. This is a serious program we're running here, you know. We can't bother with the whole time wasting.
Alright, neighbor, you ready for the review?
I'm coming to you.
Okay.
See, Samwise is sending another request. Samwise, you got your chance, man. We had you up here and you didn't realize you were here. What's happening? Tari, are you ready for the review?
Yes, neighbor, I'm ready.
Go ahead, sir.
All right, listeners. So, as you know, we've been doing, well, Casey has been doing his forecast from last week into today. And just to give you a context, we called last week 26 safe seats for the Jamaica Labour Party, 8 safe seats for the People's National Party, meaning that there were 34 safe seats, and there are 29 seats that we have leaned respectfully to either party or we have assigned as too close to call. So I'm going to give you a general rundown of those 29 seats, and then I'm going to give you the further numbers as it relates to the number of seats each party would have. All right, so we begin with St. Thomas Eastern. We lean that to the Jamaica Labour Party for Michelle Charles. We go to St. Andrew East Rural, lean in JLP for Juliet Holness. We go to St. Andrew Eastern, lean in JLP for Favour Williams. Kingston Central, too close to call. Member of Parliament is Donovan Williams. In St. Catherine Northwestern, lean PNP for Damion Crawford. In St. Catherine Southeastern, too close to call, 50% split. And the MP is Robert Miller, Big Rob. In St. Mary Southeastern, lean in JLP for Dr. Norman Dunn. In St. Mary Central, it's lean in PNP for Omar Newell. In St. Mary Western, this one is too close to call. Member of Parliament is currently Robert Montague. In St. Anne Northwestern, lean in JLP for Crystal Lee. In St. Anne Southeastern, it's lean in PNP for Dr. Kenneth Russell. In Clarendon Northern, it is lean in JLP for Dwight Sibley's. And I'd also like to point out that it is at this point where the Labour Party would have reached the magic number for 32. Continuing onwards, in Clarendon Northwestern, too close to call. We look at Manchester Southern. It's leaning to the PNP for Peter Bunting. In Manchester Central, leaning JLP for Rhoda Moy Crawford. In St. Andrew South Eastern, leaning PNP for Julian Robinson. St. Andrew East Central, leaning PNP for Dennis Gordon. In Manchester North Western, surprising to some persons maybe, but it is leaning ever so slightly to the Jamaica Labour Party with Damion Young. Manchester North Eastern, leaning to the JLP with Audrey Marks. Westmoreland Western, too close to call. The candidate there is Garfield James. In Hanover Western, is leaning to the PNP with Heather Miller Bennett. In Hanover Eastern, leaning to the JLP with Dave Hume Brown. Westmoreland Central, leaning to the JLP with George Wright. Westmoreland Eastern, leaning to the PNP with Dr. Dayton Campbell. In St. James West Central, this may be the strongest leaning seat for the JLP, but it's leaning to Marlene Malahoo fourth. In St. James Southern, it's too close to call with the current Member of Parliament being Homer Davis. In Trelawney Northern, leaning JLP for Tova Hamilton. St. Elizabeth Northeastern, leaning JLP for Delroy Slowly. And St. Catherine East Central, leaning JLP for Orlando Terrelong. So after looking at the 29 seats, we currently have 15 leaning for the Jamaica Labour Party, 8 leaning for the People's National Party, and 6 labeled as too close to call. What this means right now in terms of the national count is that the JLP as of right now would be on 41 seats. The People's National Party would have 16 seats, and there are 6 seats that are still too close to call.
Give us the concluding number again, please.
So the concluding number, the Jamaica Labour Party stands right now at 41 seats. The People's National Party stands at 16 seats, whilst there are 6 seats that are still too close to call. I can run back over the too close to call seats if you want me to.
Yes, please, go ahead.
All right. So the seats that are too close to call, we have Kingston Central, which is held by current Member of Parliament Donovan Williams. We have St. Mary Western, held currently by Robert Montague. We have Clarendon North Western.
Bobby's seat is a dead heat?
Yes, sir. It is a dead heat.
Wow.
We have Clarendon Northwestern, currently held by Philip Enriquez, and the candidate up there is Warren Newby. We have Westmoreland Western, current MP.
Newby's seat is a dead heat?
Yes, it is a dead heat. We also have Westmoreland Western, which the current MP there is Morland Wilson, and the JLP's candidate is Garfield James. Let me see if I'm missing anything. We go to St. James Southern, where the current, it's also too close to call, the current MP is Homer Davis. And St. Catherine Southeastern, also too close to call, where the current MP is Robert Big Rob Miller.
Fantastic. All right. Well, these are KC's number. This is what KC has laid on the... What about Eastern St. Thomas?
Eastern St. Thomas, that was the first seat I called. That's leaning to the Jamaica Labour Party with Michelle Charles.
Southwest St. Elizabeth?
Southwest St. Elizabeth, that's... We did that last week. Safe for the JLP.
All right. Well, that's what we have there. Repeat it for us again, Tari, please.
As in the numbers or all the seats?
Just go back over again.
Oh, go back over everything? Okay,
yes.
All right.
Start back from the top.
All right, so listeners, for your benefit again, last week we would have characterized the safe seats for the Jamaica Labour Party and the safe seats for the People's National Party.
Tell them that is KC's
Oh, you want
projection.
KC's projection, by the way, guys. Not mine, it is KC's projection. Right? And KC would have characterized 26 seats as safe for the Jamaica Labour Party, and there were 8 seats that were safe for the People's National Party. You want me to go over the safe seats, neighbor?
Yes.
Just quickly run them off.
Go.
All right. So for the safe seats now, when we were listing them, we are KC was saying that he's 90% sure that these won't flip, regardless of if there's a massive swing for the Labour Party or the People's National Party. So the safe Jamaica Labour Party seats are Clarendon Central with Delroy Williams, Clarendon North Central with Robert Nestor Morgan, Clarendon South Eastern with Pernell Charles Jr., St. Catherine South West with Everall Warmington, St. Catherine West Central with Dr. Christopher Tufton, St. Catherine South Central with Andrew Wheatley, St. Catherine Central, Olivia Babsy Grange, St. Catherine North East, Carencia Morrison, St. Anne North East, Matthew Samuda, St. Anne South West, Xavier Main, Portland Eastern and Western, Vaslan and Marie and Daryl Vaz, St. Thomas Western, James Robertson, Kingston Western with Desmond Mackenzie, St. Andrew North Western with Dwayne Smith, St. Andrew North Central with Delano Seavright, St. Andrew North Eastern with Delroy Chuck, St. Andrew West Central with Dr. Andrew Holness, St. Andrew West Rural with Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, St. Elizabeth South Western with Floyd Green, St. Elizabeth South Eastern with Franklin Whittle, St. Elizabeth Northwestern with Andrew Morris, that would have been J.C. Hutchinson's former constituency, Trelawney Southern with Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, St. James Central with Leroy Clark, St. James Northwestern with Dr. Horace Chang, and St. James East Central with Edmund Bartlett. So those are the 26 safe JLP seats. Now for the 8 safe PNP seats.
Hold on, Tari. So that So listeners, there are 26 Tari. 26
yes,
seats.
26.
Labour Party starting the election with 26 seats in the back. Oh my goodness, what an election. The Labour Party is starting the election with 26 seats in the bag. 2025, what a year. What a year. I'm coming to you, Tari. I'm coming to you. My people.
Guys, remember to tap the screen and like the live.
There. 26 seats the Labour Party starts the election. This man, Andrew Holness. Oh. My goodness, what a leader the JLP has found. I tell you. This is going to be a heck of an election, I tell you. This man, Andrew Holness, boy, I tell you. I don't know that a party in history has been able to start an election campaign with 26 seats. And the forecaster is saying that the Labour Party is starting the election with 26 safe seats, that they can't lose it. Oh, this is big news for the Labour rights. Big news for the Labour Party. I'm just here watching my screen and recognizing the information coming up before me. That there's a 90% chance. You know, Marcia Griffiths, a little Andrew Michael Holness, boy, I tell you something. Tari, do you want to continue now? Go ahead with the PNP numbers. Go ahead.
All right, neighbor, I'll continue. So, according to KC's forecast as well, according to KC's forecast as well, there would have been 8 seats that were considered safe for the People's National Party. And these 8 seats are... You guys are hearing me, by the way?
I am.
Okay, cool. All right. So we have Kingston Eastern and Port Royal. That's Philip Paulwell's seat. St. Andrew South. That's opposition leader Mark Golding. St. Andrew Western, Anthony Hilton. St. Andrew South Western. That's Angela Brown-Burke's seat. Formerly Portia Simsimiller's seat. We have St. Catherine Eastern, represented by Denise Daly. St. Catherine North Central, with Natalie Nita Garvey. St. Catherine Southern with Fitz Jackson, and Clarendon Southwestern with Lothan Cousins.
Yes.
So those are the 8 seats that are safe for the People's National Party. So overall,
in other words, the PNP starts the election with 8 seats. Safe.
8 seats, yes.
Yes.
So if you're doing your own little map, everyone, you can color code these seats already, because the JLP should start the election with 26 and the PNP starts with their 8. So in total, the election has 34 safe seats, meaning that there are 29 seats that are currently within the battleground, and we would have leaned those seats today either for the Jamaica Labour Party or the People's National Party, or it was also characterized as too close to call. So I'm gonna go over the lean seats. So I'm gonna call the lean ones for the JLP, then the lean ones for the PNP, and then the too close to call to give you a wider perspective. Right? So for the Jamaica Labour Party, there are 15 seats that are leaning to the Jamaica Labour Party. Oh, I must go slow up, guys. I was told that you guys are writing the... Alright, so I'll try to be slow with the lean seats as best as possible. So I'm going to start with the Jamaica Labour Party. Yes? So for the Jamaica Labour Party, we have St. Thomas Eastern leaning for the JLP with Michelle Charles.
Not safe. Not safe.
Not safe. It's leaning to the JLP. We then move further, I guess you could say further west, to the corporate area, where we have St. Andrew East Rural leaning to the JLP with Juliet Holness. We also have St. Andrew Eastern leaning to the JLP with Favor Williams. Going into Kingston, sorry, my apologies, not Kingston. We're moving further westward again, neighbor.
Yes.
So we continue to Clarendon. So in Clarendon, we have Clarendon Northern leaning to the Jamaica Labour Party with MP Dwight Sibley's. And then
Sibley's has work to do.
Yes, he has work to do, neighbor. We also, so now we move to Manchester, where Central...
What about Clarendon Northwestern?
No, I'm calling them in terms of the party, you know. Or you want me to just call them all together?
No. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
So I'm calling them in terms of the party. So I'm doing for the Jamaica Labour Party now.
Yes.
All right. So in Manchester, we have Central Manchester, which is leaning to the Jamaica Labour Party with Rhoda Moy Crawford.
Rhoda is winning Central.
Yes, she's winning in Central.
Rhoda Moy Crawford is winning Central Manchester.
Yes, she's winning Central Manchester.
Hold on, hold on. What an election. What an election. Rhoda Moy is winning Manchester. Central. Good. Good evening, Rhoda. Can you hear me calling out your name, Rhoda?
I don't know what to say.
Rhoda, you drink soda? Rhoda Moy Crawford, or what an MP?
Oh.
What an MP? My understanding is that when Rhoda turns up in the communities, the young men, Dory man, Central Manchester, that crazy. Rhoda boy, how you doing? Rhoda? By the way, we are scheduled to talk to Rhoda soon, eh?
Can you hear me calling out your name? You know that I'm falling and I don't know what to say. I'll speak a little louder. I'll even shout.
Go ahead, Tari, my son.
All right, neighbor. So, still in Manchester, we have, maybe surprising to some people, but in Manchester Northwestern, it is slightly leading to the Jamaica Labour Party with their candidate of Damion Young.
Damion Young.
Yes.
Ahead in Northwest.
Yes, he is ahead in Northwest. Slightly ahead.
My goodness gracious me.
Can you hear me calling?
Go ahead.
All right. Then we go to Manchester Northeastern, also leaning for the Jamaica Labour Party. As you know, we would have been unsure about the seat for some time because the candidate was not there. But as you know, the candidate now is Audrey Marks, and it is leaning towards the Jamaica Labour Party, listeners.
The Labour Party is winning Manchester 3-1. Go ahead, Tari.
All right, we then move to St. Elizabeth, where in St. Bess, the breadbasket parish, St. Elizabeth Northeastern is leaning towards the Jamaica Labour Party with current MP Delroy slowly but surely. Yes. Slowly but surely. All right, moving over to Westmoreland, where neighbor we can say that Westmoreland Central is leaning to the Jamaica Labour Party with current Member of Parliament George Wright. We move now to Hanover, where in Hanover Eastern is leaning to the Jamaica Labour Party with current Member of Parliament Dave Hume Brown. We then now move to St. James, where in St. James West Central leaning to the Jamaica Labour Party. It's probably the strongest leaning seat for the JLP, where the Member of Parliament is Marlene Malahou IV. Former Attorney General, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. We then move to Trelawney Northern, leaning to the JLP ever so slightly with Tova Hamilton. Still somewhat of a battleground, but it's leaning to the Labour Party. After Trelawney, we then go to St. Anne, where St. Anne Northwestern is leaning for the Jamaica Labour Party with Crystal Lee. And neighbor, moving to St. Mary now. St. Mary Southeastern is leaning for the Jamaica Labour Party with Dr. Norman Dunn. So those seats that I would have just spoken about are the leaning seats, or the lean seats, the seats that we have leaned for the Jamaica Labour Party. So there are 15 seats that we have leaned for the Jamaica Labour Party. So for the People's National Party,
Hold on. How many seats are the Labour Party winning?
what in total?
Yes, sir.
So in total, the Labour Party, with the 26 safe seats and the 15 lean seats, that would be 41 seats for the Jamaica Labour Party.
The Labour Party is now winning 41.
Yes, neighbors.
How many are safe?
Neighbor 26 safe for the Jamaica Labour Party.
And how many are in the toss-up column?
And in the toss-up right now, we have 15. In the toss-up, which we have leaned to the JLP.
So the party starts the election with 26 safe seats, and it is likely to pick up another 15.
Yes.
But then there are 5 that are too close to call.
No, there are 6 that are too close to call. I still have
So it could pick up. It could pick up those 6 too.
Yes, we could pick up those 6.
What is this?
Which therefore means that it could technically be an upwards of 47.
What is this? I'm hearing? Sorry. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Okay. All right. Go over the seats that are now leaning to the People's National Party. Go over those seats for me now.
All right, so although the seats leaning to the People's National Party, neighbor.
Yes.
So we start from, let's see here, we start from St. Andrew, where in St. Andrew Southeastern is leaning to the People's National Party with current Member of Parliament Julian Robinson.
Yes.
And St. Andrew East Central is leaning to the People's National Party with candidate Dennis Gordon.
Yes,
Moving
that's the former
Catherine.
Peter Phillips seat.
Former Peter Phillips seat, yes, correct. We move on to St. Catherine, where St. Catherine Northwestern is leaning to the People's National Party with their candidate Damion Crawford. The current MP for that seat would have been Hugh Graham.
Yes.
As you know, Hugh Graham has been subject to a lot of criticism over the past parliamentary tenure for being absent from Parliament.
Yes.
Many times. But we're leaning his seat to the PNP with candidate Damion Crawford. We then move to Manchester, where we can lean Manchester Southern to the People's National Party with their candidate Peter Bunting. Yes, sir, Peter Bunting will be returning to
he's coming out of the Senate.
Coming out of the Senate, going back to the House of Representatives.
Yes. I wonder if he's going to challenge for leadership.
We shall see, neighbor.
We shall see.
We then go to Westmoreland Eastern, where we are leaning it for the People's National Party in the form of Dayton Campbell. But Daniel Lawrence is doing his work down there.
Campbell is likely to return to the lower house.
Yes, neighbor.
Slightly, eh?
Yes, slightly. We also, in Hanover Western has been leaned to the People's National Party with Madam Heather Miller Bennett.
That's the lady who said that they switch on what? What she said?
Switch and end up in a ditch, yes. That is Heather Miller Bennett for you. Switch and end up in a ditch. That is Heather Miller Bennett for you.
Yes.
So we have lead Hanover Western to the People's National Party.
Yes, what about Southern St. James?
Oh, that is in the too close to call column, neighbor.
Okay.
Yes.
St. Anne?
We now move to St. Anne. St. Anne Southeast is being leaned for the People's National Party in the form of Dr. Kenneth Russell. We go to St. Mary, where St. Mary Central has also been leaned for the People's National Party in the form of Omar Newell. Right? So, though that would be the 8 seats that are leaned to the People's National Party as we speak. So, the PNP starts the election off with 8 safe seats. They gain another 8 seats from the toss-up that we have leaned PNP, meaning that they have 16 seats currently, but because there are 6 too close to call seats, it could be an upwards of 22, right? But
the PNP could end the election with 22 seats.
Yes, they could.
All right.
Yes.
Give me those now. Those that are too close to call.
Too close to call. So neighbor, I'll give you too close to call. So for the too close to call, we start with Kingston Central is too close to call. The JLP is Donovan Williams is going up against the PNP Steve McGregor. We then go to St. Mary Western, where it's also too close to call, where Robert Bobby Montague of the JLP will be going against Omar Orville Woodbine for the People's National Party.
This must be the biggest political news on the island. That St. Mary Western is too close to call.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
As we said, neighbor, as KC would have said, the too close to call seats, it's really gonna go down to the organization and the strength of the party on the day. So Bobby has some work to do where that is concerned. We go to Clarendon Northwestern, where it's also too close to call. It's being represented by Warren Newby for the Jamaica Labour Party. He'll go up against Richard Azan for the People's National Party. We go next to Westmoreland Western, where the candidate there for the Jamaica Labour Party is Garfield James. This is also too close to call. Garfield James was a former councillor for the People's National Party. He's now representing the Jamaica Labour Party. He'll be going up against, I believe it's Ian Hales for the People's National Party. We also look at, I keep on skipping this one, St. Catherine South East. This is also too close to call. Current Member of Parliament Robert Big Rob Miller for the JLP will be going up against Dr. Alfred Dawes for the People's National Party. And also in St. James Southern, this is also too close to call. The JLP's Homer Davis will be going up against the PNP's Chief Communicator Nikisha Burchell. Right?
Is she the chief communicator, sir?
Well, I know that she's on one of the communication specialists for the PNP.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
My goodness. So then the PNP then is winning how many seats?
So the PNP would win, according to KC's forecast, 16, but with the too close to call seats, they have an upwards of 22.
22 minus 22 from the 14 they have. How much is that?
Minus 22 from the 14, that would be 8.
Plus they're losing 1. So that's a pickup of 9.
Oh Lord. Minus 14 from the 22, that's 8. Plus they're losing 1. So that would be 7 now.
Go on, which one will lose?
Who is that?
It is I.
Northwestern neighbor. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
We have Senator Crawford online, Tari. Let's hear what he has to say after this. We have Senator Crawford online. It's a fascinating night. I understand that Floyd Green is also listening. Good evening, Floyd. No, Minister Green, how you doing? Mr. Crawford?
What go on?
How you doing, sir?
Boy, I'm there listening. I try to hear which one we are going to lose, but I hear it yet. I wonder if I'm on.
Well, sir, the PNP is doing better. The PNP is doing better tonight than in previous times. You are now up to 21 seats. And remember, you only have 14. That means that you're making progress.
All right.
Encapsulate for us what it is that the People's National Party is asking Jamaicans to vote for. Whatever you make of the forecast, Mr. Crawford, we are not forecasting a win at this time for the People's National Party. As a matter of fact, we are actually forecasting how many seats, Tari? What's the best?
All right, so the best that the PNP can receive would be 22 seats. And, would I say worse here? But the worst in this case, 16.
Yeah. Mr. Crawford, the PNP is not winning the elections based on the politics plus forecast. And it is what it is. What it is that you are, could you just, in a few sentences, pitch the PNP's message to the listeners. What it is that you are offering Jamaica to vote for. Mr. Crawford, you go to the market and people are selling. What is on your stall?
I think we have better ideas and a greater commitment to the movement and development of the average Jamaican. That is what is on our stall.
Yes, but then now you're going to have to break that down into some language that different demographics or demographies of people are able to understand. Let's start with the people at the bottom. What is the message to them?
As I said, a greater commitment, a greater disposition towards their plight, towards the things that they're facing, their suffering, as people would say, and better ideas towards fixing that. I think that's what we're all trying to say.
Yeah, isn't that Mr. Crawford, part of the problem that I see that the PNP is having? It is this idea that Jamaica has not really made progress. But the average man, Mr. Crawford, in Jamaica today, in my view, well, let me leave myself out of it, based on data coming out of the institutions of government, those numbers are suggesting that the country would have made progress. Isn't part of the problem that the PNP has not recognized the progress that the nation has made, and at the same time presenting an alternative as to what you can do to make it better? For example, Mr. Crawford, when you're Minister of National, your spokesman on national security, refuse to give credit to the government for the reduction in crime. That's a missed opportunity.
No, it's not a missed opportunity. In your opinion, that's a missed opportunity. No. As I've said before, and many a poll have indicated in the last year and a half, continuously the PNP is ahead. So I don't think we're making a mistake at all. Indeed, the inability of the government to call an election would suggest to me that their numbers aren't showing this level of confidence that you're seeking to purport. So,
well, it's not me seeking to purport it. I am not the forecaster. I'm just the broadcaster.
Or the forecaster. I mean, if he shares this with the Prime Minister would be smart to call election tomorrow. But that is not happening, as we can see. So I believe that the numbers is in our
So
favor.
which poll are you leading in, Mr. Crawford? Which poll?
The most recent poll would have been the Don Anderson poll, which once again.
But your general secretary says that it's an independent poll. Is the Don Anderson poll an independent poll?
I don't understand how that question negates the argument. The Don Anderson poll.
I'm just wanting to find out if the Don Anderson
poll. You have to allow me to answer.
Okay, no problem.
Right. So independent is independent of the two political parties. It wasn't commissioned by any of the two commissioned political parties. So that is what independent means in this case of a political poll. So their results indicated that the PNP was ahead once again, and have been continuously ahead in all their polls for the last 18 months.
Yes. What weight do you put on the Blue Dot poll?
I put very little weight on the Blue Dot poll, actually. On the simple basis that I personally believe that Nationwide is a biased commentary, but also because of this, the methodologies that they use, to me, don't seem to be reliable. For example, I don't believe a parish analysis is effective because seats can be decided in strong manner or weak manner. So when a person says we're leading in this parish, let's use St. Mary, for example, the PNP can be ahead by very far in one seat and be battling in the other two, but in combination gives the impression that the PNP is very far ahead in the parish. I don't understand that decision to do a parish analysis. So some of the questions that they ask I find to be questionable, but I believe that over time, Don Anderson has proven himself to be.
You're an academic, Mr. Crawford. You have lectured at the university.
I think so.
of the West Indies. What weight do you put on polling generally?
Put a lot
How
of weight
credible
because
is
it's numbers,
polling?
it's statistics, but the credibility of it is a comparison of the historical outcomes. So if we look at the most recent test of the sample versus the population, so the sample is the poll and the population would have been the election. If we look at the most recent test, the blue dot was very far off. The blue dot suggested that they were the JP was 6 points ahead, I believe, at the time. It ended up that they were 3 points behind. While Dan Anderson, I believe, suggested that the PNP was 1 point ahead. And it ended up that we were 3 points ahead. So
No, Dan Anderson had the Labour Party 1 point ahead. You can check that.
Right. Well, you could say how I'd make a mistake there.
No, it's fine.
Right. So the Dan Anderson poll was way closer to the reality, especially when you add plus or minus as a margin of error. I think that was 3 or 4%.
Yeah. Well, let's assume therefore, Mr. Crawford, that Don Anderson is correct. Let us assume that Anderson is correct. That you are starting the election with a 3-point lead nationally, but then the same poll puts your leader 7 point. Well, puts the Jamaica Labour Party's leader at 7 points ahead of your leader, Mark Golding. This after you have been campaigning for 4 years. 4 years,
Well,
Mr. Crawford. Hold on. You have been on the road consistently for 4 years. Your leader, Mark Golding, and Dayton Campbell have sought to paint the Prime Minister as not a credible man. You have cited his statutory declarations and all type of things. The PNP have thrown dirt on him, but you're only 3 points ahead. How do you explain that?
Well, first of all, none of the things that you referred to were initiated by the PNP. We have no authority over the declarations of the Prime Minister being signed. That's through the Integrity Commission. And if that is not done, that's reasonable political conversation and political fodder, which the party would rightly use going forward. Now, as it relates to the leaders' numbers, I don't question polls. However, we're not having a presidential election, so I don't need to be concerned about it.
Yes, Mr. Crawford, but you are smarter than that. You know how Jamaicans. You hear what Mr. Campbell. Yes, okay, no problem, man. Speak up a little bit.
Yes. So I'm saying that when I analyze these polls, because we're not having a presidential election, and because the party's preference was analyzed in the same poll that the Prime Minister was supposedly ahead of the leader of the opposition, but in that same poll, in spite of that result, the people gave the PNP the preference. And so therefore, because it is an election of party to party, the most important analysis is the outcome of the PNP.
Agree with you, but you're not equating the local government election along the same with the general election coming up, because neither Mark Golding nor Andrew Holness was on that ballot.
No. I'm reusing the poll, the most recent poll that had the two findings. So at the same time that the person was asked, in this case, who's your favored leader, they said Holness would have won that. But in the same poll, at the same time, the person said the PNP is their favored party. The outcome of the next election is based on who's their favored party, because it asked for their intent to vote. And their intent to vote was for the People's National Party as a dominant feature over the Jamaica Labour Party.
I'm being purely hypothetical. I must tell you, I'm not a great believer in polls, especially polls in Jamaica. I think they are too infrequently done to be credible. But I'm suggesting to you, I'm asking you that, assuming Anderson to be correct, he is suggesting that the Labour Party's leader, Holness, is 7 points ahead of your leader, Golding, and you are only 3 points ahead. Anderson said,
but I don't understand the statement. What that means. So you believe that we're going to have
Anderson said that it is not a statistical dead heat. I'm asking you, is it a statistical dead heat?
I don't believe so. I believe that if you should look at the trend, the plus and minus should be on the side of the People's National Party. So
what is the margin of error?
The margin of error is 3%. However, if you look at the polls over the last year, you'd have recognized that the JLP would have only lost 1 and the PNP would have then lost 7. It is reasonable to assume that within that margin of error,
there's a young man. Sorry, Mr. Crawford. I'm sorry but there's a young man on the program. He's 17 years old from Arden, and I want to make sure that
is that the young man that was talking about the polls.
He was just reading the numbers.
Oh well, he's quite impressive, I must admit. Yes.
Oh yes, he is. He's an ardent student. He's going into upper six, studying law. Mr. Crawford.
I look forward to his offering to the country. I was listening. It's very impressive.
Yes, we look forward to yours too, sir. The margin of error in the poll is how much, Mr. Crawford?
In this case, my memory is 3%.
Yes, and how much is the PNP ahead by?
3.7%.
So then it is 0.7% that is the difference.
Not really. That's not how the maths really go, but yeah.
You're a mathematician. Help us.
Yes, because you'd have to assume a direction. So if you think that the margin of error was in the negative, meaning that it is a -3 on the JLP side, then the lead could be 6.7. If you believe it is a +3 on the JLP side, then the lead would have been -7. So yes, the best case scenario would have been -7 or 2.3. Yeah.
Okay.
So depends on the direction of the margin that you assume. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Is the PNP comfortable that it can win the election?
Not can win. Yes, I think so. Well, yes. What we have seen, and I don't want to take tales out of school, but I think that we are confident because the JLP has shown their best ball. They have made their greatest attempt in this last poll period. While many could have argued that they weren't campaigning before, that can be argued now. And they have opened and reopened everything that they can think of. They have broken and rebroken ground. And they have made their best case. And in spite of their best case, with Andrew Holness being on the road, they lost a point. So that has given us great joy and anticipation for the election.
But there are some, Mr. Crawford, who are suggesting that the PNP have really run out of steam, that they went out too early and they're at the point now where they can't find that gear to take them over the hump. How do you respond to that the PNP over the last couple of weeks, they have been quite flat? What's causing that?
Well, first of all, there's competition in the market space. The JLP would have had greater budgets and the availability of the funds of government for their communication. What the JLP and the supporters of the JLP should always remember is that once the election is called, that advantage is removed. And so the ability to have all these people following the prime minister, and we don't have that as opposition. So they're in the market. Secondly, people are in the information stage, are really analyzing everything, trying to look out. But in spite of the government having all the billions available to them and announcing all the things that they're able to announce of government, they're still behind. I think the JLP should be very concerned and are very concerned about that. And so, yeah, we're confident.
Yeah, you are part of the manifesto committee of the opposition People's National Party. Mr. Crawford, are you helping to craft the PNP's 2025 manifesto?
I've had input, yeah, I've had input.
Yeah, how far are you with that document?
No, man, our manifesto continues to improve. We have had many of these policies, some of them from 2020. So it's not as if we just jump in a room one night and create a manifesto overnight. We continue. We have seen changes in global realities that we have to then see how that impacts previous plans. We have seen, for example, the US saying they're going to send 4,000 people back to Jamaica. That is a reason to review your manifesto. How do we treat with this? What are the types of situations they're coming back to? We have seen war evolve in the Middle East. How would that affect oil prices? What does that mean for solar energy? So it's a thing that you continuously review. And in that continuous review, you get the best of ideas coming forward.
Look forward to looking at it. Damion, what are the areas of government now that the PNP would continue? What are the things that if you get into government, you would continue these policies, and what are the things that you would change? Is there anything that you would commend the government for?
Of course. Well, the economy would be continued because the laws are in place. A lot of people don't realize that the laws were set in 2014 for these ratios to be achieved. For example, your debt to GDP ratio, your wage bill to GDP ratio. So therefore, whomever is in government, having these laws in place would have to continue.
I could challenge that, don't you know, Mr. Crawford?
Yes, neighbor, we could challenge that, of course. Good night to Mr. Crawford.
Wait.
Can you indicate the challenge to that?
Well, the fact of the matter, sir, is that governments, although they are bound by laws, it is men that operates them. You know, sir, I just received a judgment, and I'm going to say a little bit more of it.
Yes.
In a case against the government, an agency of the government that I am involved in, and I must tell you the truth. It is amazing that an agency of government could have acted in such a way.
Right.
It's very disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay, and so there is a human element involved in it, Mr. Crawford. There was a time when nobody knew that $11 billion could have been taken out of the NHT. The PNP did it. And the PNP did it through amending the law. So when you speak of law as if law is a constraint upon government, it is, and it ought to be, which is the very reason why you took the government to court over the states of public emergencies. Right? And you won. So it's not only that the law exists.
But but you would have also had first of all, the 2014 law was passed under the PNP government, but you'd have also had a period of time, I think it was 2 years, that the PNP met all those targets.
Damion, stop saying that, bro. Stop saying that. The PNP did not the law of fiscal responsibility. Stop saying that.
All right. Can you please Google when that law was passed? So I'll go back to saying in 2014.
Just a minute, Mr. Crawford. Just a minute, sir. You're being disingenuous, sir, and misleading. In terms of neighbor, in terms of tactic, in terms of like policies, strategies, and programs and policies, the JLP's policies, strategies, and programs, neighbor, are different.
May I just wrap up with him? Just wrap up with him, and then you can come in. What I'm asking, Mr. Crawford, is
neighbor,
in terms of continuity.
Right,
yes.
And I've said to you that the laws are in place as guardrails for the economy. Nobody can deny that those laws exist. Nobody can.
But neighbor, that's the thing I want to adjust, man. You can't make him and then me lose between the talk, man. Let me adjust that, man. Neighbor, that's false, neighbor. The PNP's policies, strategies, and programs are not the same as the JLP's. Even in a scenario where JLP would have continued from the fiscal rules that existed, that initiated first under the Bruce Golding-led administration through the hands of Mr. Shaw, etc. Also, neighbor, it is the people that are a country's greatest asset. And when your policies, strategies, and programs are not having the people centered in terms of being beneficiaries of these strategies, policies, and programs without being burdened through or because of excessive tax packages, neighbor, the JLP would have introduced a no new tax policy. The PNP had pure tax as the way out to achieve whatever outcome they would have had in mind to achieve. And that's different from the JLP's policy, sir. Because when the PNP had it in mind to apply tax, the JLP's policy, no new taxes. That provided the fiscal space for entrepreneurs, small businesses, large and existing businesses already to expand
policy.
their
That's policy. That's policy.
Those are policies that are different from the PNP's policies, neighbor. Remember, if it was the PNP, the BPO sector would have crumbled under the PNP's stewardship because of Peter Phillips' excessive tax package that he would have brought onto the BPO sector, for example. Davon Crum, the president of the St. James BPO sector, warned Mr. Phillips of those type of tax that he would have brought forward at that specific tax. And if the PNP never lost government, a sector like that is vital today would have crumbled under the PNP like many others that would have crumbled under the PNP, sir. Next thing, neighbor in London, the country needed to have a better space in terms of social behavior. We needed to have a crime reducing country, or a country where criminal activities are being treated with laws and also legislations to fight it, and also make it deterrent to people who think it is attractive or profitable to get in the actions of crime. We see the negative crime has on this country. It stifles growth, it stifles development. And the Labour Party, neighbor.
No, he must respond.
Gustav finish, neighbor, because the fiscal responsibility framework was also passed in 2010. Even
February 27, 2010.
The central bank, the government, and no political party cannot increase interest rate like the PNP did in the 90s. Because the Bank of Jamaica now is an independent bank. So we cannot trust PNP. Damion is up here trying to mislead 453 persons. That is not good. We have to dismantle PNP lies and propaganda.
Neighbor, the reduction in crime rate has a lot. Neighbor, the reduction in crime rate, for example, the reduction in the criminal activities across the country has an impact on the country doing well in terms of economic development, sir.
But we are. And
the PNP's security minister cried on the job, sir.
Gustav, this program is not about us, sir. It's about the listeners.
Guys.
So if we do not let them listen, then we don't make no sense.
And it should be about speaking the truth and not crippling the minds of Black Jamaican men and women. Because the PNP are constantly telling lies, they're twisting the truth, and that is not nice. That is not nice.
Philippines, we understand, but when we're having a debate, we allow the spokesperson to respond. And I'm also trying. And I am also trying to benefit. I am also trying to benefit from
because
what
I'm not even
spokesperson is saying.
Why we are resorting to this.
I'm trying to benefit from what the spokesperson is saying, and the listeners are listening. We have to be mindful. Come on, guys.
All right. So I understand the passion of politics, and that is fine. There are certain things that a quick Google search or a quick chat GPT search can indicate. You ask me a question. Is there anything that I believe deserves continuity? That must be from a policy standpoint. Can be from an objective standpoint. 90% of the objectives of the country we agree on. So it is from a policy, a how more than a what. I've indicated truthfully that there is and have proven to be a commitment to the current fiscal rules from the People's National Party, and has been proven since the JLP has been in power. There's a commitment from the Jamaica Labour Party.
Sorry, Mr. Crawford, can you clear up for us? When were the fiscal rules? When did they come on stream? Tell us.
2014.
2014? Yes. Under which government?
So, under the PNP government, 2011 to 2016.
But then the guys from the Labour Party here are suggesting that.
So what people should remember was that the fiscal rules was what would I say, a demand from the IMF. Good. When we had to go back to the IMF in 2008, I believe, and the IMF wasn't pleased with our performance, they proposed those rules in 2010. Those rules had to be made into law. That agreement between the two parties to say, yo, listen, this is where we are, this is where we have to go. To get this money, we have to follow those rules, would have then had to be made into law and passed into law. That was done in 2014.
Were you in the Senate at the time? Were you in the Senate?
I was in the Parliament at the time. I was Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew. I was a voter in the Parliament as it relates to that fiscal rules. That's a quick Google search. Now, all I'm saying is that those rules about the ratios of debt to GDP, about the ratios of salaries to GDP, those ratios haven't been established, along with a general national oversight body, EPOC, which again was implemented by the PNP, along with the need to come to Parliament for changes, have indicated, and in my opinion, that is something the PNP would have had to continue. Even the ratios of what is the deadline of achieving a certain debt to GDP are set in those rules, set in those laws. I accept that once human beings are interacting with anything at all, variations will happen. But I then posit to you that since the PNP was essential in passing the bill, and since the PNP had proven in its 2 years after passing the bill that they would have stuck to those targets, never missed one.
Yeah, sorry.
I would posit
is what happened to these people online, man. I mean, what's wrong with them? Listen, I would rather, me personally, would rather end this show, go to my bed, and don't come back here tomorrow. I mean,
I quite enjoyed it.
I am not a senator. I am not a member of parliament. If what the man is saying is not true, go and Google it.
Yes,
pick up your computer and look at it. I don't know. The man said he was in parliament when the fiscal rules were passed.
Yes.
Is that true? Go and check it out for yourself. And come here with the facts. Mr. Crawford, you are a senator in Jamaica, sir. When were the fiscal rules passed? That's all we're asking you.
2014.
There you go. Why you think that the senator is misleading us? He must know, man.
Or they can
neighbor, Senator Crawford is misleading us. And also, neighbor, again, current affairs of Jamaicans, again, if they were never able to improve the lives several Jamaicans in constituencies that remains controlled by the PNP, sir. Before you qualify the PNP nationally, qualify these constituencies, use any of them to sell the PNP before you try to sell the PNP now, sir.
Let him respond first. And he can take some question one time.
And if I am incapable to respond, it don't make no sense to remain. All right. No, the fact of the matter is that an election is a comparison's relativity, and in my opinion, every single PNP constituency that has been held by the PNP for a very long time is in a better situation on average.
Can I ask you for a moment, Mr. Crawford?
1 second, let me just
there are
answer.
other people who want to hold on, Mr.
Yes,
Crawford.
there
are other people who want to ask Mr. Crawford questions. So Delroy, we are going to give each person one question, and that's it. Yes. So when you have gotten your question, you come down and allow somebody else to come up. Mr. Crawford will stay with us.
Yes, as I said, every single long-standing PNP constituency is in a relatively better condition and situation than long-standing JLP constituencies. So if the people were to compare on the most ridiculous basis of what is a constituency to constituency outcome, the PNP would be 100% most likely to win the election. And I can speak to as easy as West Kingston. I can go over to where my friend Babs Grange is. I can go over to where Mike Henry, Goodman. None of them can compare to the developments that we have seen in Westmoreland in general. None of them can compare with the developments that we have seen in my own seat, Northwest St. Catherine. So if we should get the statistics on poverty, if we should get the statistics on crime, on average, the JP long-held constituencies would fail in comparison to the PNP long-held constituencies. However, that would be a foolish basis of decision-making moving forward. So I wouldn't suggest people should use that as their basis of decision-making.
100 Live, your time.
Yes, yeah, I don't really, I want to go back to the fiscal responsibility, and I can read an article that was written by the Jamaica Information Service in 2010, February 7, 2010. So it states that the House of Representation passed an amendment to the Fiscal Administration and Audit Act and the Public Body Management and Accountabilities Act on Tuesday as a part of the government fiscal responsibility framework. Minister of Finance and Public Service, Honorable Audley Shaw, who piloted both bills, stated that the fiscal responsibility framework will operate as a centerpiece of the framework being undertaken to improve the management of the public finances. And he said, this is Audley Shaw's work, the policy of the proposal framework is to address areas of weakness in the existing financial policies and fiscal administration system in Jamaica. He said the ministry stated that an unacceptable high level of public debt is hampering the country efforts to achieve levels of growth and significant meet an exceptional of the people's struggles, right? It goes on and on, but you blatantly lie and mislead. There's a lot to read and it takes funny, but I'm not take up the time because the article is very long. So let me talk, please. So that was he piloted both bills. There was an amendment. An amendment means slight changes, right? So the PNP, I don't know if you guys were choosing to make changes to hamper the bill. So, but under the strict law that was placed by Audley Shaw, right, for both bills, right, to get the country to where it is at today in 2010, which you blatantly mislead the people and is adamant about it. It was never started by the People's National Party, and the People's National Party is the reason why we have to reach to the position where we have to get this bill amendment, where we have to go to BOJ, the Bank of Jamaica, and to let them become independent so that we cannot be printing money and we have to set the inflation rate at a standing. So you lied there, sir, and the facts are there to
100 Live. I wouldn't say he lied. I wouldn't say he lied. Mr. Crawford,
are you mislead? You try to mislead the people? Are you
he
partisan?
He did say that
the People's National Party.
But he did say that the bill was introduced by Golden in 2010.
He said he gave both credit to the People's National Party in 2014.
Neighbor, can I just?
Sorry, his microphone is open. His microphone is closed, and I want him to open back his microphone. Okay. He said that the administration, he agreed.
Hello.
The Senator Crawford.
Senator, we're hearing you.
Yes. No. Again, and strong words as in lied and all of that is
right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to just interact. I've enjoyed the platform, but I'm not going to take the violation. No, I'm saying at the end of the day, if you don't understand the difference between a bill, a framework, and a law, you have to first understand those before you analyze my statements. The fiscal rules as a law was passed in 2014. The fiscal guidelines as a framework.
Senator, I don't want to disrespect you.
100 Live. Let him finish now.
Like, I'm trying to apologize if he feels offended by the
I
words
don't feel offended. I feel concerned that we just don't want to learn nothing at all. We just have a point, and I am trying to learn from you. You have to at least give me a chance to try and learn from me. So, and it don't mean you have to change your mind, right? So I'm saying the framework as a guide rail is separate from a law as a thing that you have to do. A law suggests that you shall abide. A framework suggests that you should abide. When the IMF came in 2010, indicated under then the JLP that they needed these frameworks. Eventually, when the PNP came, because if you would remember, sir, we actually went off rail with the IMF deal. We didn't take tests for 3 terms. The IMF was unwilling.
This is stressing me out.
And then eventually, the IMF indicated and the PNP accented that we would have done the fiscal rules as a law. And that can be Googled in 2014. I voted for it. So by extension, I can tell you that.
Okay. All right. Casey, do you have a question for the senator?
Give me some time. Move on to somebody else.
HR, do you have a question for the senator?
Good night, folks.
Night.
Good night.
So, there's a lot of banter about which administration passed the act in question. And I'm actually looking at the act here that is signed by the Governor General himself, P. Patrick Allen, dated the 22nd day of March 2010. That is an act further to amend the Fiscal Administration and Audit Act. That's 2010. I'm actually looking at the document, the signed document by the GG.
We're not going to debate something that can be easily Googled. So therefore, if we think that the laws were passed in 2010, you can take that, put it on the next exam paper, you will fail. The law was passed in 2014.
Neighbor, the laws, neighbor, is neither here nor there. The outcomes have been determined by the strategies, policies, and execution. And therefore, the JLP's execution and policies and strategies are different from the PNP. So even with the law, sir, even with the law, outcomes have been determined because of the strategies of the different parties and policies, sir. And obviously, the PNP's policies and strategies were never the best for the outcomes that they would have intended.
All right, can we?
The thing is, Gusto, let me just briefly complete the point.
This is a waste of time. I must tell you this, guys.
It's a waste of my time as well.
It's a waste of my time.
I have a
no. I am way more intelligent than this, and I don't conduct myself like this. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's end this. No, listeners.
Yeah, brother. Thank you.
It was nice.
I was trying to get the polls, but
hold on, Mr. Crawford. Hold on, man. Hold on. We're gonna go back to the poll. Guys,
I'll keep watching.
Take the profanity to another platform. I mean, we the politics that we practice in Jamaica is so nasty, right? That we don't think we can agree. We can disagree respectfully. You hear them a cuss bad word in a parliament? And look at the heated debates that they have. When we're going to have to lower on ourselves. The PNP may lose and the Labour Party may win, or the Labour Party may lose and the PNP will win. So what if somebody loses a debate, or if somebody said something that you don't agree with? Use your evidence. Use your arguments to win the argument. Don't come up here, come cuss bad on.
But yes.
Right? When were the fiscal rules passed? It's a good, we can research it.
Yeah, man.
We
So
don't
let's
need to cuss over it.
Let's Google that. So you can say framework and rules and use the same.
Come on, man. And listen to me. The man is a senator in the parliament. Yes? He comes here and he wants to have a discussion with us. And we just make the thing deteriorating into this. No, it's not right. Okay.
Neighbor, I had a burning question. But before I even go into that, Senator, thank you for being here despite what you have had to go through. And I'm going to break the line from my party on this one. There is no reason to be, and I'm speaking to the listeners here in the comments, there's no reason to be attacking anyone personally. I do debating, I learn you attack the argument, you don't attack the person. Learn that. The sooner you learn that, the easier life becomes. But Senator, I just wanted to ask though, because I'm having, I guess I could say I'm a bit confused, and I'm wondering if it's hinging on between the definitions of something that is passed versus something that is legislated. Here's why I asked that question now. Based on my understanding as a K+ student, I know that when something is passed, it means that it is a step in the process where laws are made, where Parliament has agreed to adopt a proposed law. So it may be passed by the House of Representatives or passed by the Senate, right? And in Jamaica, we have a bicameral Parliament, right? So even if it's passed by the House, it still has to go to the Senate to receive that passage as well. What I know legislated to mean, though, is that whenever something is legislated, it means that it would have become or turned into law. So it has been passed, signed, and is a part of the legal system. Here's a question I'm going to know. You said that the fiscal responsibility framework in and of itself is like a guardrail per se. However, the same article that would have been read by 100 and myself would have showed that amendments would have been made to the Financial Administration and Audit Act, as well as the Public Bodies Management and I believe it is Authorities Act. So what I'm now asking is, yes, we had the framework, right, in terms of the guardrails that they wanted to put in place, but wouldn't the amendments that would have been put in place into these, I guess you could say amended bills, would have therefore turned the framework into a law, therefore in 2010, hence enabling its legislation? That's what I'm asking. So through the amendments, wouldn't the amendments for the policy itself, because remember, you know, when you, as you say, when you create the fiscal responsibility framework, it's not legally binding. So in an effort to make it legally binding now, you would therefore make an amendment to the act in and of itself, right? And then turn that into a new bill, legislate it, and turn it into law. So wouldn't, in that case, wouldn't that then suggest that the framework in and of itself would have been put into law in 2010 on that basis, being the amendments were put in place to create these new bills?
All right. I think I found where you in particular.
I sound a bit confused.
Right. No, I understand. I understand. Yes, you made a lot of sense, but I understand. I think where you're having the difficulty. There are some things that we have now called fiscal rules, which are ratios to be attained. None of those ratios were passed in 2010. In 2010, the things that were proposed included a fiscal policy paper to be tabled in Parliament with the budget. So before 2010, the budget would have been tabled, but it wouldn't have had the fiscal policy paper that would have indicated to the public and the Parliament what are the assumptions that were made. It also wanted to ensure that we disclose our fiscal targets, our macroeconomic forecasts, our fiscal risk, etc. Right? So it also indicated that there should be parliamentary oversight through the Public Administrations and Appropriations Committee, and that the Auditor General had a role to assess these targets and to see if the assumptions were reasonable. Now later on, which is the things that are now the guide rails in 2014, they passed the rules about the debt to GDP ratio, and that was set to be 60% by 27-28. It passed the wage to GDP bill that was set to be capped at 9%. It was later changed, I believe, to 11%. It set limits on
Mr. Crawford, what you're saying could not. Mr. Crawford, what you're saying just now could not be true. And you know what can't be true? Because it was because of a violation of that 9% wage to GDP, while the IMF agreement with the government had collapsed in 2010. So what you're saying just now cannot be true because of that very fact. When they gave the public sector that increase, especially the teachers, the nurses that strike, and the wage bill was pushed over 9% of our GDP. That is what caused the collapse. So what you're saying, that rule could not have been passed in 2014 when it was violated by the JLP in 2010. That will make sense, Mr. Crawford. The Jamaica Fiscal Responsibility Act was passed in 2010.
Sorry, Philippians.
And that is the rules that govern.
Philippians, don't do that. Open the man mic.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Here. Yes, Senator,
right.
we're hearing you. We're hearing
All right. My brother, if you just want to join me, if you go and just chat GPT, because I had to consult chat GPT. Type in the question. Were the fiscal targets set in 2010? The answer, no.
Mr. Crawford, I
just listen, man. Jesus Christ.
I was alive then.
Listen, man. Sure. Type in were the targets set in 2010. The fiscal targets. The answer received, no. The binding numerical targets. Just listen to Jesus Christ. Talk, man. You have a chance. Were not set in 2010. Here's the breakdown. It gives the 2010 reform, and then it gives the 2014 reform. In 2014, amendments to the FAA and the PBMA Acts added legal fiscal rules, including debt to GDP targets to reduce public debt to 60% of GDP by financial year 27-28. Wage bill ceiling, cap public sector wages at 9% of GDP. Primary balance target, maintain high surplus, example 7% of GDP to support debt reduction. Borrowing limits for public bodies and escape clauses and corrective mechanism added. Go and Google, man. Come on.
Mr. Crawford, I'm surprised that as a member of the legislature, you need to Google.
I will screenshot the facts and send you the group.
I do not need, Mr. Crawford, I do not need ChatGPT to assist me with this. This is factual information. And you as a lawmaker, I am shocked that you need ChatGPT to answer these simple questions. I don't need ChatGPT. The Fiscal Responsibility Act was passed in 2010. The wage to GDP bill was in that, and that is what the Jamaica Labour Party violated in 2010.
I tell you what we're going to do. I tell you what we're going to do.
Let me ask Mr. Crawford a question. Mr. Crawford,
one question, because you're unwilling to research, and we can't debate a man who's unwilling to research.
I tell you
Mr. Crawford, let me ask a question. What caused the breakdown between the government of Jamaica in 2010 and the IMF? What caused it?
The government refused to take the tests, refused to take 3 tests.
What caused the breakdown of it, Mr. Crawford? Don't just give me
if you don't accept the answer, if you don't accept the answer, you have to move on.
Because the government of Jamaica violated the wage to GDP clause that was set.
All right.
No way that class could have been set in 2014 and yet violated in 2010.
I tell you what.
Google, man. I go Google.
I tell you what.
Thanks.
I tell you what.
What's up now?
I tell you what.
Let me try and have some order.
Yes, I will have to. No. Hold on. I will have to. First of all, get back to this topic, and secondly, we'll have to close. Because I do not think we are benefiting the listeners a lot.
Yes.
In this.
Neighbor, don't act in skin now, neighbor. It's your platform, man, but don't act in skin, neighbor. Reality is, hold on, neighbor. Even if you're going to close, hold on, neighbor. Nobody has disrespected the senator. Neighbor, hold on, man. I listen to you too, man. Neighbor, the senator is being so professional. He's not being disrespectful. We in the panel are not neighbor, neighbor. We are not being disrespectful to Mr. Crawford. Mr. Crawford is not being disrespectful to us. People will say what they are wanting to say in the comments. Not because you know them, you go find it. What if you never know them, neighbor? Don't get so thin skin, neighbor. Neighbor, just allow the platform to run, man. Don't get thin skin, man.
So go and turn on your
But we're not being disrespectful to each other. The senator is not being disrespectful, neighbor, man.
Phone, sir, and put them on yours.
Neighbor, don't ask a thin skin, man. Even if you want to show me up because I tell you that, neighbor, man. Don't ask a thin skin, man.
No, brother, hear me.
But if we
people listen, neighbor, just let the program run. People learn from Mr. Crawford, and people learn from us. People learn from you, neighbor. Remember, you know, you provide a platform for interaction. You know, remember, it's not necessarily you and Mr. Crawford as a one-on-one. You know. So you allow for us to have arguments. We don't have to always agree, man. We won't always agree, neighbor, man. That's just the nature of us in any reasoning.
Yes, sir. So I must sit here.
Neighbor, come on, man. Even if you want to end or throw me out, man, come on, neighbor, man. Come on, just be more, neighbor.
You think
neighbor, come on, man. The guy is not being disrespectful. We're always not going to agree. Things will become heated. It happens in Parliament, neighbor. Apologies if it happen. People go out of confinement. Just calm, neighbor. It's just natural. I mean, once the respect is not orally being hurled, I think it is okay because that's just the nature of us. Mr. Crawford, as I said, I have to keep on saying it, sir. He's not being disrespectful. He's acting professional, bad to bad. So even with anything that is in the comment that you may find distasteful, notwithstanding, man. Come on, neighbor, man. Neighbor, we have to do this together, you know, man. Neighbor, regardless, we have to do this together. So come on, man.
Over and over again. You can't stop now.
Neighbor, overlook certain things, man, because we're more centered in terms of the conversation and not even the comments that are being distasteful, whether from us or the other side. We're more focused on the conversation, sir, because the conversation has more weight than what we're saying that are distasteful, sir. So to put emphasis, as in overemphasis on the distasteful part, that would just defeat the whole. Just come on, neighbor, man. Make it platform run and sure. Come on, man.
Come on.
All right, Delroy.
Right. Come on.
Can I say the last thing because I go also move on to just for the night. But yeah, I love debates, but at the same time, I don't really like violation. I'm gonna like as well people not willing to research. Because if I say something I don't know, I go wrong go research. They can't be unwilling to research. That means the debate have no purpose because we just have quarrel. We're not debate for a reason. No, the gentleman said that we missed targets. The IMF set targets within every single loan that they distribute. That don't indicate that those targets are fiscal rules. Fiscal rules are what is agreed by Parliament and passed into law. None of those existed in 2010. And if anybody don't believe, just Google it. Now, if we are going to debate something where we can simply Google and agree to disagree, it's a waste of the debate. A debate can't be upon an objective fact. It must be a subjective analysis. So if there's an objective fact that the rules were passed into law in 2014, and that can be Googled, anybody can chat GPT right now, and it will show it to be so. In 1988, in 2003, there were IMF targets that were set on basis of lending the money. That don't mean it's a fiscal policy rule.
Crawford, when was the Jamaica Fiscal Responsibility Act passed?
Oh Lord, I'm not answer the same thing again.
You know, the problem is with all of you. I think all of us, I think we like to prolong argument. That doesn't make sense. Mr. Crawford have admitted that it is the JLP's framework.
Yes.
And we should accept that and move on. Despite if Mr. Crawford want to move the goalpost and say the law was passed in 2014, well, all you guys have to say we weren't talking about when the law was passed. Mr. Crawford didn't deny that it was.
We actually are talking about when the law was passed.
No, you
that
moved
was
the goalpost.
Question that was
they weren't talking about that. If I build a car in 2014, in 2010, and have it driving, and you license and register it in 2014, it's not your car. It's as simple as that. So we can move on to other things.
All right, we're going to move on, but let me just make it clear that the debt to GDP ratios and all the other ratios were established and implemented in 2014.
All right, so Mr. Crawford, we
One second. Can you say that the framework were not implemented in 2010?
I've already
stated. Say that?
I've said that 100 times, but I've indicated.
Well, you're being dishonest now because it's not that you don't know.
I said, didn't I say yes 100 times that the framework was in
Cause Damion, you kind of flip flop on the platform, man. I just that them a try say, and you know I admit it. We know say you kind of flip flop because remember you come to score the points, and we we know that. So nobody, we can move on from that. You need to try to score the points. You need to try to score. Hold on, the fam. You need to try to score the points, and it kind of work. Which is why me, they try to move the goalpost all the time I go to, and I try to make the people know. Say, look here. The outcomes, regardless of the laws, cannot or could not have been achieved. Similarly, unless the policies and the strategies of parties are different. The Labour Party's strategies, policies, and programs are different from that of the PNP, sir. The PNP's policies and strategies, sir, would have crippled the small business sector of Jamaica like it typically does, sir. And also, it would have gotten rid of existing giant economic thing that exists already. So, I mean, the PNP just does not have the knack of finding the better fiscal policies for Jamaicans nor Jamaica. And that's what we want to debate, sir, because the policies of the Jamaica Labour Party are different from those of the People's National Party. And even with the laws that exist, sir, the outcomes could have only been achieved only because of policies, strategies, programs, and executions of all, sir. And that's what I want you to debate, because the PNP's policies run the business, the small business out of business in Jamaica.
All right, Delroy. Mr. Crawford, you have the final word.
Yes, let me tell you something, Tony. First of all, I have way bigger platforms like Parliament. So I'm not really come on a platform for score points. If I enjoy a platform, as I've indicated, I enjoy this platform. I try to help to build it. You know, matter if you're Labour or if you're PNP. I enjoy the platform. And in helping to build it, I add my cachet by coming on and say, yo, what going on? And we enjoy the banter. And I will also get information from you. Some of the things when we say on the platform is from learning and discussing and having the conversations. But if I write a letter to the Gleaner, I come in the Gleaner. And if I go on TVJ, I'll be on CVM tomorrow. So there are bigger platforms that exist that me can score points. But if I want to engage, learn, understand, because I can't make laws without knowing what the people are thinking, what they're saying. No, I know this is a JLP platform. Therefore, there's not much fish to fish for on the JLP platform. No, man. I'm also know say Andre show is a PNP platform, so I know platforms. I'm gonna go up on my brethren blogging.
You're comparing me to Andre, sir?
No, just the platform. I'm gonna go up on Blogging God platform. I know it's a JLP platform. I don't fish where the fishes aren't. Right?
This is a JLP platform.
Yeah, dominating. Nothing wrong with that, because you have a right to choose. And you have Fox News in America, and you also have MSNBC. Nothing wrong with that.
I see.
No.
I wonder if it is registered at Belmont Road.
No, you don't have to be registered. The people can.
Then how you call it a JLP platform?
No, all right. Let me explain something. It doesn't mean that that's their intention, you know. People gravitate to things that satisfy their opinion. So therefore, people are going to gravitate to spaces that satisfy their opinion. If I should do a poll in here right now, I would presume more JLP-leaning persons are present. Nothing wrong with that. There's not a negative.
Then the poll that Mr. Don Anderson did, were more PNP people interviewed? Is it a PNP poll?
No, that would be foolish if he did that, because he would have had to try and find validity in his poll. So he must have go throughout the country and try to be reliable in the persons who are likely to vote. So no, I don't.
No, sir. I never published this as a no JLP platform.
That's what I'm saying. Hold on, man, you don't have to publish it. More JLP people listen nationwide and they don't publish it. It's just that the conversations gravitate towards their opinion. Nothing wrong with it. As I've indicated to you, you have Fox News and have MSNBC. The people who are for Donald Trump will go to Fox News, and the people who are for Barack Obama will go to MSNBC. These are natural realities of human existence. But I enjoy your platform. I enjoy the thing. I was listening to this young guy earlier, and I really believe him have talent. I've got recruiting. But that's a different story.
Senator Crawford.
Yes.
But don't run it, man. I can't believe you're on this platform misleading the people about the fiscal responsibility rules. Don't do that.
You have 16 minutes. You have 16 minutes.
You have 16 minutes. I will show you. Don't run. I will show you for just a second.
I have to leave now, though, because I am preparing for something tomorrow. But I'm saying to you,
don't run, Senator. Don't run,
Mr. Crawford, I want to inform you that we will be doing a poll here on Saturday morning. Saturday morning, we normally have a large viewership. You mute your mic. Are you listening?
Casey, just give me that second. Let me address just something. The finance administration.
Saturday morning, we normally have our large
fiscal responsibility.
So we will be doing a poll for on the PNP and who do we think will be the next should be the next PNP president. It would be interesting.
Don't worry about that. We're going to win the election. But after Google, I'll come back tomorrow and we can open this
No. Don't run. Senator, do not run, Senator. Do not run.
We'll see how your poll Saturday morning. Because that is the most important election.
Hold on, Casey, man. Hold on.
Yeah, talk quick.
The fiscal and administration.
Another thing, Mr. Crawford.
Make him talk now. Please. Yes. Go back to the scene.
So the Fiscal Administration Audit Amendment Act of 2010 have these requirements. Subject to subsection 2, the minister shall take the appropriate measures. 1. Reduce the fiscal balance to nil by the end of financial year ending March 31st, 2026, to reduce the total debt to 100% or less of the gross domestic product by the end of the financial year ending March 31st, 2016. So when you're talking about the debt reduction and what, and you can go look at it. It was signed by the Governor General, let me tell you. It was signed by Sir Patrick Allen on the 22nd day of March 2010.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You're sure? All right. Are you aware that there is a debt to GDP target now of 60% by 2028?
I am not negating that, Mr. Crawford. Mr. Crawford, what we're saying. Hold on, man. Yes, man. But what I'm saying to you, Mr. Crawford. Mr. Crawford, hold on, man. What you have done is to take away the credit from the Jamaica Labour Party and give it entirely to the People's National Party. The fiscal responsibility. Hold on. Mr. But you're cutting me off. You're trying to hijack me. Give me a second. I am saying to you, initially, there was a target to reduce the debt to 100% of GDP by 2016. That was initially set in 2010. The PNP in 20.
I'm here to go now. I'm going to ask you, sir, please.
Can I give him his flowers before he leaves?
No, I'm going to give you an opportunity at a time convenient to yourself for us to go through this. I'm going to do a little work on it and we'll come back to it. You hear, sir?
Yeah, man. Google it and make we discuss. Come here and discuss.
I'm going to want me to discuss this. Okay, sir?
Okay.
Believe me, and I'm confessing, I did not learn much.
With that said, Mr. Crawford, sorry, my bad. Dr. Damion Crawford, I want to confer the doctorate on you. You're a spin doctor. So from going forward, you'll be Dr. Crawford because you're a very good spin doctor. Because for 2 hours, you refrained and withheld the word amendment and stated to the people that y'all made those amendments. You tried to claim the whole thing. But now that you're caught,
Google it, I will talk next week. Or tomorrow.
All right, doctor. Dr. Spinner.
All right.
You know what is funny?
I'm a good guy, Dr. Spinner.
I actually listed, there was a number of rules there that were written into law. I read 3 for Dr. Damion Crawford regarding the debt to GDP ratio of reducing it to 100% of GDP. When the PNP got some form of physical space in 2014, they would have made additional amendments to the new targets that were set out. So when they come and pretend as if the targets themselves were established in 2014 to the Jamaican people, Mr. Crawford was misleading your platform. He was lying to the people on the platform. Here, Mr. Neighbor, and I do not appreciate that.
I don't know why we are at 2 hours. You know, I think sometimes the people on this program makes me out to be a fool.
Fiscal. Sorry, Barry, fiscal. Not physical.
What? Hold on there. Let me hear neighbor. Why is that your neighbor? Why people make you out to be a fool?
Because I don't think you all are very smart.
Expound some more.
I think you all want to have your little pound of flesh.
I'm not half of the pound of flesh because I listened for how long and let him lie and then
he admitted
he
admitted more than an hour ago when Tari read from the Gleaner. He admitted it. And so
what you do?
I don't know what we are doing.
You said something.
He admitted. Hold on.
No, but you said something I wrote neighbor that you said something that flied over my head just a while ago. What did you say a while ago before you explain? What did you say?
I'm saying sometimes you all take me for a fool. Let me tell you something. Ultimately, when a person is doing an interview, for the listeners to decide, you know.
Yeah.
It's not about me.
Yeah.
I am not asking questions because I don't know the answer. I want to give information to the listeners. So here is Mr. Crawford. Mr. Crawford is also wanting to provide answers for his listeners. But he misled the listeners. He was corrected and he conceded to the correction. Why couldn't we move on? Why we kept coming back to the fact that he's misleading? Why couldn't we move on?
But even though neighbor, to be honest,
because neighbor at that time,
Mr. Crawford would have
answer the question. When Tari read from the
speak to what you're saying. Wait, hold on.
Let
me speak to exactly what you're saying.
When Tari read from the Gleaner and he said, okay, and Chuck came on and he conceded. That's what a debate is about. Point number 1. You score that one. The listeners have made their judgment. Why we not move on?
All right, we understand that.
More ground.
Neighbor,
so that the listeners can hear more from the interview. Why can't we move on?
You're right.
Hold on. 100. Neighbor, I believe. Hear this. Yes, he conceded. And we heard the concession. We hear him conceding to it, right? We hear him. But here's what you must also understand. He does not give a concession and done there. He spins it. That's why I call him a spin doctor. I have been listening to him, and just like you saying you're confused, you don't learn anything. You know how many other people is left confused when him done spin it? Because even just now, when we not confront him and start read from the act, here are the technicalities we might try to point out and claim overall ownership. That the amendment move it from 100% for the year before and then bring
but every person who comes up address the same thing. And I think that in that regard, you were all just being selfish. You were all just trying to win to show that the senator, you know more than the senator or the senator.
It's not about. We
could have gotten a lot more from this, sir. We could have gotten a lot more from it.
I agree, neighbor. But while you're saying,
this is why I'm gonna make an editorial judgment here. Whenever there is an interview on this program,